This morning we're going to be thinking about the persecuted church. And here in the UK, it is not illegal to be a Christian. It is not illegal to own a Bible. It is not illegal to go to church. But there are places in the world where all those things are illegal. And if you were found with a Bible or a Bible app on your phone, you would be in lots of trouble. We can come to church, we can have a Bible out in public, we can talk to people about our faith. So how many Christians in the world are persecuted for their faith, do you think? Do you think it is 180 million, which is 1 in 15 Christians? Do you think it's 380 million, which is 1 in 7 Christians? Or do you think it's 580 million, which is 1 in 5 Christians? If you think it is A, so there's no Slido quiz today. If you think it's A, put your hand up. If you think, we've got one. If you think it's B, put your hand up. We've got a few more. If you think it is C, put your hand up. Well, it is actually B. So well done to those of you that said B. There are 380 million Christians who are persecuted for their faith. That's 1 in 7. So imagine if we were representative of the whole of the Christians in the whole of the world, every 7 people, if we were to go around and count, every 7th person would be experiencing persecution because of their faith. And these are 5 countries where it is illegal to own a Bible. So all those of you with flags in your hand would be in a little bit of trouble. Can anyone tell me where any of these countries are? Caleb. The top left is North Korea, correct? Anyone else? Eliana, what did your dad say? Saudi Arabia, which one? The bottom left, good. So we've got North Korea, we've got Saudi Arabia. Caleb again? Is the top right one Somalia? Yes, it is. Very good. Anyone know the middle one? Top middle? Have a guess. Somebody said that, I think. Afghanistan. And the bottom right is Yemen. So those are 5 countries where it is illegal to own a Bible. There are other countries where you could still be in a lot of trouble for having a Bible. There are all sorts of restrictions in places like China, for example. There are restrictions on owning Bibles, places like Iran and Sudan. And quite a lot of the resources that I'm using today come from an organisation called Open Doors. Open Doors work on behalf of the persecuted church. They support persecuted Christians. They support their families. And you can find, if you want to find out more about the persecuted church, then you can have a look at their website, opendoorsuk.org. They're also on social media, and there's a few resources at the back. Other organisations such as Christian Solidarity Worldwide, CSW, Release International, and others also work on behalf of the persecuted church. And one of the things that Open Doors do is each year they put together a list, what they call their watch list, of the 50 most dangerous countries in the world to be a Christian. And so they rank them. And I just thought we would watch a short video that goes through the top, I think it's the top 10 countries so the most dangerous, the 10 most dangerous countries to be a Christian in the world. One of the things that Open Doors wants to do this year on this day of international prayer for the persecuted church is to draw our attention to what is going on in sub-Saharan Africa. You can see from this map possibly, depending on how well you can see some of the grey bits that aren't showing up particularly brilliantly. That since so the left-hand map is 2015, the right-hand map is 2025, and it's to do with levels of persecution. The darker the colour, the greater the persecution. But you will see that there are more countries now that are experiencing significant levels of persecution in sub-Saharan Africa than there were in 2015. And pretty much all of the countries have gone darker. So even those countries that were experiencing persecution in 2015, the levels of persecution have risen over the last 10 years. For those of you that know your African geography, you will see that Chad is now on the list, whereas it wasn't on the list before. In fact, Chad is on the watch list. Chad is the 49th most dangerous country in the world to be a Christian. And for those of us that are praying for the work of BMS in Guinea-Bissau Hospital, you'll know that that is in Chad. And according to Open Doors, in the city closest to that hospital in June, there were 8 young people who were arrested for sharing their faith in Jesus. And at the point that Open Doors published their material, their families still had no idea where they were. And so Chad is not an easy place to be a Christian. 9 out of 10 Christians worldwide who were killed for their faith last year lived in sub-Saharan Africa, and about 70% of them were from Nigeria, so some of the most dangerous places to be a Christian. And it's estimated that there are 16.2 million Christians in sub-Saharan Africa who are displaced by violence and conflict. And for many Christians in that part of the world, such as this pastor, Pastor Barnabas, one of their big concerns is that there are 16.2 million Christians displaced, but nobody is talking about it. It's just as if it is not happening. They feel that their situation is going unnoticed. They are being ignored. So I have got a challenge for you this morning. If you have a phone that's got a stopwatch on it, we're going to try something called the 16.2 challenge. This is something that Open Doors are running on their social media. And what you're going to do is you are going to open up your stopwatch on your phone, and you are going to try and stop it at exactly 16.2 seconds. And then if you can stop it at 16.2 seconds, you are then going to take a screenshot and you're going to post it on Instagram with the hashtag that's given up there, 16.2 challenge. You're going to tag in Open Doors Youth UK, and you're going to put the phrase, "I'm praying for the 16.2 million Christians displaced by conflict and violence in sub-Saharan Africa." I tried this for a while, and when I put this presentation together, the closest I got was 16.15. Since then, I did get 16.22, but I've not managed to get exactly 16.2. But if you want to know, if you get home and you think, I know that there was this thing I was supposed to be doing with my stopwatch and putting some stuff on social media, but I can't remember any details, then if you go to the Open Doors website, you will find all the information on there. If you want to know other ways in which you can get involved, so maybe writing to our MP about what's going on in sub-Saharan Africa, then there are a few leaflets on the little table at the back, or again, head to the Open Doors website and you will find all sorts of helpful resources and links there. Right. Those of you that have a Bible app on your phone, now is the time to stop 16.2ing and to look at 2 Corinthians chapter 4. If you've got a Bible, maybe you've got a paper Bible with you, then we're going to just read a few verses from 2 Corinthians chapter 4. The verses, not those verses, not those verses. There's those verses. Are we coming? Yes, here we go. Right, 2 Corinthians chapter 4. We're just going to read verses 7, 8 and 9. So 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7. But we have this treasure in jars of clay, to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. Most of the New Testament was written within the context of a church that was persecuted. This was a letter that was written by Paul. Paul wrote a lot of letters that make up the New Testament, and some of those letters were written from prison because Paul was being persecuted for his faith. A lot of the Christians that Paul was writing to, and a lot of the Christians that were around in the first century, they were being persecuted for their faith. It wasn't easy being a Christian. If you were a Jewish follower of Jesus, you were often persecuted by those Jews who didn't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. And pretty much whoever you were within the Roman Empire, there would be persecution from the Romans and from the authorities because of your confession that Jesus, rather than Caesar, is Lord. And many of these Christians were encouraged by the promise that we read here. We are persecuted, but not abandoned. Also, the promises that we find elsewhere in the New Testament, that Jesus promises to be with us in our suffering. There is also the encouragement of a hope that is to come. There is the promise that even death is not the end. There is a reward waiting for us in the future. If we'd carried on reading a little bit further, the verses that were up there just now, Annie, if we can have those up again. So a little bit later than the verses that we read, so this is 2 Corinthians 4:16, says, "Therefore we do not lose heart, though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary and what is unseen is eternal." And so there was this hope, or there is this hope for the future. But there is also this promise that we can know God's presence in a special way in our suffering. We're going to spend a few minutes praying in just a moment with the persecuted church. And you might want to use some thoughts from these particular verses that we read just now from 2 Corinthians 4, 8 and 9. You know, these Christians that are feeling hard pressed. When we read the New Testament, we see that we should expect to face opposition because of our faith in Jesus. Sometimes we might not understand what is going on, but this doesn't lead us to despair. We might experience persecution, and some of these Christians that we're going to be praying for today are experiencing persecution. But we're not abandoned. Jesus has promised to be with us in it. And even though they are struck down, and some of these Christians are being killed for their faith, they are not destroyed, because Jesus teaches that these things that we see, our bodies, that is not the end of the story. Death is not the end of the story. So even if we're killed, we are not destroyed. Now,